Andy described the feeling as a punch to the gut and then feeling a hot flush run over her entire body. She then has this overwhelming desire to hide and disappear and not see or talk to anyone. And the feelings are so intense that she can't connect and she can't attend many social gatherings and makes excuses about why she can't attend the get-togethers. Her avoidance of socializing was beginning to affect her relationship with her partner, and she wanted to understand what was happening and how to turn things around. Andy was experiencing shame anxiety, along with social anxiety, a fear of being shamed and feeling shame. I'm going to discuss the relationship of social anxiety and shame and how you can help yourself if you experience this. Social anxiety disorder, also known as social phobia, is a fear of judgment, embarrassment, or rejection that's so intense it makes challenging things like making friends, participating in gatherings, so difficult, and it creates a sense of unbelonging. Social anxiety, unlike other phobias, is thought to stem from negative judgments or core beliefs that you have about yourself, or also imagine that others have about you. The thoughts may be things like, they don't like me, I'm boring, I'm awkward, I'm weird, I'm not good enough, I don't measure up. However, in Andy's case, and in most people I see with social anxiety, traditional exposure therapy is not going to be the first thing I go to without first understanding the role of shame. Shame, like other emotions, is thought to have evolved in humans as a survival mechanism. The emotional experience of shame helped humans to conform to tribal norms. However, understanding that shame may have a place in evolution, it doesn't seem to help us navigate this overwhelming distress that it creates in us today. Some people are well defended against shame or tolerate the feeling, whereas others feel devastated for days after experiencing shame. Now, shame is perhaps the most uncomfortable emotion to feel, and people go to extreme measures to avoid experiencing it. Dr. Christopher German suggests that shame arises from a universal wish to be loved, and we're all born with that desire. But when we feel that something's wrong with us that makes us unworthy to be loved, shame takes over. Now, even though the experience of shame is universal, childhood trauma can create vulnerabilities in our ability to tolerate shame. And if a child has difficulty tolerating the experience of shame, you can understand why they go to such lengths to avoid feeling it. Donald Nathanson, a psychiatrist, theorized a concept that he calls the compass of shame. And it explains how, rather than feeling uncomfortable shame, children learn 4 maladaptive ways to escape that feeling. The first unhelpful way of dealing with shame is learning to withdraw. Children slump, they look down, they pull away when they feel shamed. The physiology of shame decreases and cuts off our connection with others. Now, withdrawal used as a defense mechanism can create real problems for us. Not only does it create a kind of self-imposed isolation and abandonment, but you also don't have the opportunity to improve your ability to tolerate shame or learn that you can learn to trust and connect with others. Second, Nathanson theorizes that some people don't like that feeling of withdrawal or abandonment, and instead they take on a lesser role with another person. This is called attack self or diminish self pole on his compass of shame. So an example of this is when one submits to the power of another person and maintains themselves as kind of a less than person. Now, I see this when one never speaks their mind and always assumes the follower role or submissive role. Now, the third maladaptive way of dealing with shame is to avoid the possibility of feeling it altogether. And this was Andy's go-to method of avoiding all social events altogether. Substance use is also another method of avoiding shame. Nathanson often says that shame is soluble in alcohol and boiled away by cocaine and amphetamines. Nathanson's fourth pole on the compass of shame is called attack other. Now, when one cannot tolerate the feeling of shame by withdrawal, diminishing themselves, or avoiding the feeling, they may resort to attacking others and projecting the blame and shame onto someone else. He suggests that for children that grew up in feeling intense shame likely develop skills in all four of those maladaptive strategies. And if they're still using those same strategies of withdrawal, diminishing themselves, avoidance, or attacking others, as adults, they're unfortunately sabotaging themselves and shrinking their lives and their relationships. It's a terribly lonely place to be. So how do you turn this around, especially in the context of social anxiety? Now, I've come to view social anxiety as not an anxiety or a phobia problem. I believe it is a shame problem, and it's rooted in childhood. And people avoid others because they are avoiding the risk of feeling shame. Kristen Neff and Christopher Germer authored a wonderful book called The Mindful Self-Compassion Workbook. And I recommend this book if you're struggling with shame or social anxiety and you would like to do some work in this area. Now, they both describe how self-compassion is the antidote to shame. Their recommendations include being mindful of when you're struggling with shame and offering yourself compassion, treating yourself with the same compassion and kindness that you would offer to a good friend. Now, I also want to add that you're a human being and no one expects you to be perfect. You should not expect that of yourself either. And we all have our quirks and our awkwardness and our insecurities, and people would much rather have us be our imperfect selves than try to present a false version of who we think they want us to be. It's important for our growth and confidence that we learn to challenge ourselves and to tolerate uncomfortable feelings versus withdrawing from others and avoiding others. Emotions are temporary experiences, and we have become too isolated in our society as it is. We can all learn to be more tolerant of our emotions and of others. Avoiding shame only serves to shrink your life. Now that you have a new understanding of social anxiety and shame and how you may be unnecessarily protecting yourself, you can begin to gradually challenge yourself. If your ability to trust was impacted by childhood trauma, you may be more cautious, and it's understandable that it's going to take you more time to trust. Yet you have the power to grow and evolve and empower yourself to step into social situations that maybe you've avoided in the past. Practice experiencing the emotion of shame on your terms. Improve your ability to tolerate the feeling by using self-compassion, self-kindness, understanding, and permission to be imperfect. Until next time, I'll see you in session. Take care. Bye-bye.